16th Premier Challenge here at Pico Rivera, California. My name is Jesus Coronel, also Dennis Geisler, and we have Top Cut, ladies and gentlemen. We have our Top Cut phase, and our matchup here for the stream is going to be Giovanni Costa, the winner of yesterday's Premier Challenge, going against Hector Vargas. Geo's team you probably already know, but we'll say it again. Goldango, Incineroar, Ogerpon, Wellspring, Fluttermane, Urshifu Single Strike, and for Rigorat. And for Hector, we have the Fluttermane, the Entei, the Ninetales, the Tornadus Incarnate, the Amoonguss, and the Walking Wake here.
Yeah, a couple of interesting things. It is the Tornadus Incarnate. We've seen none of it here actually on stream for the 2 Regulation F tournaments so far, but still obviously a great option with Prankster, Tailwind. It's going to be able to manually set Sunny Day for that Walking Wake, Life Orb, Hydro Steam, Draco Meteor, Protect, Flamethrower.
And both players have locked up their team selections, and I gotta say, if the people at home didn't get their Walking Wakes for the raid events because you got 2 opportunities to get it, I don't know what you're doing.
Hard.
And now we are here in the Top Cut phase. We get Giovanni Costa and Hector Vargas. Hector going to lead the Ninetales and Entei, while Gio's going to lead Incineroar, and for Rigorat, this screams Trick Room.
I'm going to say that it does, to an extent, suggest Trick Room. I like Gio's lead, or excuse me, I like Hector's lead. Hector has a lot of options to get both Sun and a Sun user onto the field, because the only thing that doesn't really use Sun in a conventional way is Amoonguss. Entei will get those boosted Sacred Fires, and that's going to do a lot of damage regardless.
Well, it would be doing a lot of damage if it were for the fact that Rigorat and Terra is a fire type, meaning we resisted.
Yeah, that is true. Although at the same time, does give you the opportunity to potentially use something like a Stomping Tantrum if you read that prediction. We'll see.
We will see indeed if this is going to be Sacred Fire. Helping Hand from this Ninetales, so this Entei is going to be doing all the damage for this turn.
It's going to be doing a lot of damage.
It's going to be doing damage here. Stomping Tantrum into Incineroar, actually. And it is enough for a one-hit knockout. No more Incineroar messing around anytime soon. Entei is here to show you it's not as dominant as it once was, as Trick Room goes up.
Trick Room does go up. It's certainly... It's not bad for Gio, although his Pokemon are not the slowest in the world. They won't get an insane amount of value out of Trick Room. At the same time, this Entei, you have to note, is actually it is Choice Band. It's Choice Band Terra Normal. So this thing is just pumping out damage, and Stomping Tantrum is still super effective against both of these Pokemon with the Terrastalized Furgiraffe. So as long as Entei doesn't drop here, it's going to keep putting out damage. And you have to remember, Goldengo's going to be weak to that Heat Wave. You've got lots of things to juggle if you are...
That's a lot of damage with Hyper Voice. That's a critical hit on the Ninetales. Shadow Ball goes into this Entei, and because it's not Assault Vest, it's this Choice Band Goldango. It's enough for the knockout. What does the Ninetales do here? You have a couple options to do here, primarily the Heat Wave.
Gotta be the Heat Wave.
And it is going to be a Heat Wave. It is going to be connected to Goldango. It is not enough for a knockout, unfortunately. Did we get a burn on anything? Critical hit on the Farigiraf. No burn.
I think Farigiraf got the better end of those, the crit trade between the two of them. This is an interesting spot for each of these players. Now in Trick Room, Amoonguss gets to come out. It does have Pollen Puff as its move. Can it finish off the Goldengo with Pollen Puff? Does it want to do that?
It might be able to, because...
Alternatively, does it want to try to Spore the Farigiraf?
No, I don't think Sporing the Farigiraf is the right move, because, yeah, you obviously got to switch out right there, but, like...
Yeah.
Sporing out the Farigiraf is not really the move here, because Goldango is in range.
Can come in, yeah.
Yeah, it's also Ogerpon coming in here, obviously, so we're not going to get that going. For Ninetales protecting here. Again, I still think the move is to go Pollen Puff into this Goldango to knock it out. Make sure it's not much of a threat anymore! Why you... And there's a Spore! Trying to Spore into this Farigiraf slot. Unfortunately, though, for Hector, Shadow Ball did not target Amoonguss.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's still fine for the most part, because yeah, it just will. Nothing really changes here about the game state. Pollen Puff can still come out. Gio could try to switch out the Goldengo to maintain it. Actually, be a Rage Powder. I actually like this choice quite a bit. It gives you the Heat Wave, and that's the most important thing.
Oh, and here comes the Shadow Ball into this new Rage Powder to Amoonguss. That's a critical hit! Big damage! Heat Wave coming out, though, will take up the Goldango, and that's a big amount of damage to this Ogre, but before it got a chance to go for... Oh wait, no, he came in Terra. So it is just going to be a normal amount of damage. If this is ID Cudgel, down goes the Ninetales. And now we got to see what can take advantage of the Sun, because Hector's down 2 Pokemon.
Yeah, both of them are down 2 Pokemon. We're down to the last...
And Amoonguss is heavily weakened.
Amoonguss is indeed heavily weakened. It can at least redirect the first move, whatever Burgraff wants to do. If it's not
if it's Hyper Voice, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, if it's Hyper Voice, it doesn't matter, but that's not the worst
It's
thing.
Walking Wake.
It's Walking Wake. That's interesting. We're still under Trick Room. Walking Wake is Life Orb.
Oh no, that's a speed booster on this Walking Wake. If it was special attack, it probably would have been a bit of a better situation. It's taking that sunlight and harness his ancient energy.
I'm curious what the decision is here. Is this the last turn of Trick Room?
Might be 2.
Might be two turns of Trick Room. I think I think that is actually true. Because they'll be able to double protect at some point, the Amoonguss and Walking Wake. Although at the same time, I don't know how necessary it is. Because I think the Walking Wake should be able to handle the Ogre Pawn in a one-on-one matchup. The question is whether Walking Wake can actually deal with the Frigiraf.
And Vargas protecting alongside the Amoonguss, so now Walking Wake can take advantage.
Get 4 protects right here. It could genuinely be all 4 protects right now.
It can be, but will it be? It is! Well, fortunate thing for Hector, Sun's gone, and that means photosynthesis wears off for the Walking Wake, and the Trick Room's also over. So there's good and there's bad. The good, you could rest assured your Trick Room may not be going up again. The bad, Hydrosteam gets redirected to Water's or Ogre Pawn. Meaning you're probably forced to go either Flamethrower or Draco Meteor.
Potentially.
And down goes the Amoonguss with the Ivy Cudgel.
Amoonguss drops with Ivy Cudgel. I think Walking Wake... Walking Wake should be able to finish off the...
Yeah, you gotta go for the Draco Meteor. You have to cover for the fact that you could follow me away to Hydrosteam. Although this does make the Walking Wake weaker, it is Life Orb. Hydrosteam's still doing a respectable amount of damage to a Pokemon like this Frigiraf.
Should still do a lot. It's a question of how much the Frigiraf does. I think that's the problem, is Frigiraf does way too much to the Walking Wake, because yeah, it's going to be one more hit.
Well, now it just comes down to how much damage does Hydrosteam do, because whoever gets this next KO wins the game. Hector is faster, we know that for a fact. How much is Hydrosteam going to be doing? We do see a Terra Water, so this could be more damage coming in for Hector.
I really could do it. I really think this is a possibility to pick up the rest of this damage.
And again, you have to Draco Meteor there in that situation to avoid the Water Absorber Ogre Pawn, which makes sense. Now we gotta see that this Hydrosteam is enough to take the knockout onto this Terrifier for Rikaraf. If it is, Hector wins the game. If not, Geo wins the game. It's enough!
Well, Hector ended up picking it up.
And a critical hit! I don't know if that matters.
Hit. I do wonder if it matters. I'm honestly not sure, but in any case, that was a nice cleanup at the end by Hector, having that Walking Wake in the back. It was dicey for a while because of the Trick Room for most of the battle, especially while the sun was up. You didn't really want to let the sun stall out, but you kind of had to for the Trick Room. Yeah, that was interesting. That was very interesting.
And I wonder for Geo, it's like, did you do everything right in order to win that game? Or was Hector just fortunate enough to get the Pokemon positioned at the right spot? Because Hector won that game, but it looked pretty. I don't know, it felt iffy for both sides, because both of them had situations where Trick Room was up, it was messing up both these players. The Amoonguss could have went for a Polypod onto the Goldingo earlier, it chose the Spore, thinking that Farika was going to stay in. It's basically mind games that's going on right now between these two, and I had to believe that Geo might have to switch something up.
Yeah, the fact that Incineroar got blown up on turn 1 by Entei really doesn't... It was definitely a point against... It obviously hurt Geo at the beginning, and Trick Room got up, but at what cost? You then are missing Incineroar, which itself is a very slow Pokemon and can actually work decently well in Trick Room. It gets fast knockoffs, fast Flare Blitz, fast U-turn. It can do a lot under Trick Room, and without that, you're kind of relying on middling speed tiers, and you had to Terrastalize your Frigiraf turn 1 in order to keep that from getting destroyed by an early Sacred Fire. Like, I do think if you're Geo, switching things up in the early game, he nearly pulled it out towards the end, but I think switching things up in the early game will probably help more. Yeah,
and that's just like, what do you end up doing in a situation like that? Because there will be a situation where Hector could just... Hector has uncontested weather control right now, and you saw how much damage Heat Wave did to the Goldingo with Ninetales, and Hector's not afraid to lead the Saints Pokemon again, barring any switch-ups, and it is going to be a switch-up for Geo, I mean, Flutter Mean Urshifu.
I think it's a good lead regardless.
Which unfortunately will activate Fluttermane's photosynthesis, awakening its ancient energy to boost its speed by 1.5.
I don't think that's going to matter all that much. Fluttermane is going to be very fast anyways. I think it's still the fastest thing on the field by a decent amount. Entei, I'm curious to see what Entei wants to do here because, again, this is Choice Band Terra Normal. It's closer to those Dragonites that we typically see. At the same time, obviously, you can't...
Ooh, Hector's going for the Terra.
I kind of like this if you're just going to go with the Entei and try to run over everything next to Fluttermane. This is a sashed Urshifu, but a Heat Wave will be able to finish it off along with the Ninetales alongside the...
Oh, Terra comes out from Geo, and this is going to be the Terra Stiller onto this Urshifu.
That's interesting. Interesting, I think is the word. I don't necessarily see the point, but I guess that's fine.
I mean, if you're switching between a dark move and close combat, it's always a good thing. Helping Hand
I
comes
don't like
out.
Helping Hand. I don't like Helping Hand.
I mean, Helping Hand always Helping Hand extreme speed, so if it's Urshifu, we'll see surviving no matter what.
Yeah, I really don't like that, I think.
Oh, it didn't even need the Focus Sash.
Wow, okay. That's actually kind of surprising to me.
Icy Wind comes out onto both these Pokemon, will lower their speeds, and this should be a big wicked blow coming in here, and I have to assume Entei's the target.
Yeah, I'm worried about Entei getting, like,
oh no, close combat
right here. Yeah, close combat. That's even worse for Entei.
No, down it goes.
Yeah, I really would have preferred to see Extreme Speed Heat Wave there from Hector. I don't know if it would have knocked out the Urshifu, but we know that one Extreme Speed couldn't have because of the Focus Sash, and Ninetales, I believe, is faster than Urshifu.
Well, before the Icy Wind.
Before the Icy Wind, of course, yeah.
And the Mungus comes in here. You still have the Dark Boost from the Stellar Terra, but your problem is just that you can't Sucker Punch onto the Ninetales without the threat of Rage Shatter redirecting it, so I think it does kind of make sense that Geo locked in Protect with Urshifu, but he also locked it in with Fluttermane, so I guess we're also just trying to find out what Hector wanted to do this turn.
Yeah, well, it also stalls out Sun turns. Eventually, in the situation that something like Walking Wake is in the back, you want to make sure that the Sun turns are down. Obviously, Fluttermane gets boosted by the Sun as well, but Fluttermane, obviously not the bulkiest Pokemon of all time, may just end up falling at some point. Not to either of these Pokemon, but it could certainly be in danger at some point. So, stalling out the Sun, trying to slow this one down a little bit, not a bad idea. I also think just like Wicked Blow into the Ninetales is probably fine, even if it hits the Amoonguss.
Well, he is going to double up into this Amoonguss without Rage Powder. It's probably a good thing because the Amoonguss didn't even go for the Rage Powder.
Yeah.
Amoonguss takes that bit of damage, and here goes the Stellar boosted Wicked Blow. This should be able to knock out the Amoonguss, and once again, it's down to a Ninetales and whatever Hector has in the back. Oh, but the Rocky Helmet going to take Urshifu down with it.
I honestly don't think that's bad. With the Stellar Terra, you got your two boosts from the Stellar Terra. You got your close combat boost, knocked out the Entei, you got your dark boost, knocked out the Amoonguss, and now you're able to get something more useful in. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that's half damage with the single target Heat Wave in the Sun. Ogerpon's going to come in for Geo. If Hector brought it at Walking Wake, this might be a little bit more of a disastrous situation here. It is going to be a Walking Wake coming in here, but here's your problem. I mean, well, yeah, it's still a problem because you don't have Terra anymore, meaning you're weak to Moonblast and Dazzling Gleam, but you also have the threat that Flamethrower may not even be enough to knock out Ogerpon right here.
Yeah. And again, Geo can keep trying to stall out these Sun turns because, again, I think the Walking Wake is better in the Sun, and obviously Ninetales is better in the Sun than Geo's team is given the Sun, especially since Ogerpon will be able to boost damage once it's out of the Sun.
There's the Protect the Air coming out from the Fluttermane. Gonna protect it for another turn. We see a Spiky Shield. Yeah, we do see Spiky Shield come out here. Yeah. And because this Ninetales is stuck in the field because of the Entei and Among Us fainting a lot earlier, it means that your Sun's going to be going out in one more turn.
Mm-hmm.
Heat Wave, Draco Meteor, obviously were the attacks for Hector.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here is I think Fluttermane's still going to be fastest, and if it goes for a Moonblast onto Walking Wake, I don't really know what it can do.
It is going to be the Moonblast that's coming out from this Fluttermane here. Ninetales going to protect against this Ivy Cudgel, but I think you're more worried if you're this Walking Wake, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. Here comes the Moonblast. It is enough for a one-hit knockout.
Yeah, I don't really know what other... I don't know what Hector could do in that turn there. And obviously the Ivy Cudgel doesn't go through, but now the Sun is down and the Ivy Cudgel will definitely take down that Ninetales.
Yeah, and unfortunately there, the photosynthesis is going to wear out because of the sunlight going away, but there's a booster energy to get it back up.
That's funny that it's been holding on to that booster energy the entire time.
So going into this game 3, I mean, yeah, you probably will regret that game turn 1 in that game 2, and I don't know if Heat Wave would have changed too much because judging from that extreme speed damage, actually would have.
It would have been very close, and it might have gotten the knockout. And at the very least, like it also could have potentially burned the Urshifu. Like there were a lot of things that could have happened that would have put Hector in a much better spot in that game number 2, and kind of went for none of those, and got kind of red on the pick for going extreme speed Terra normal.
Yeah, because
I don't dislike that lead. I don't think that it's a bad idea for Hector to lead the exact same duo again, but I mean, the decision making on turn 1 has to be a bit different.
Yeah, because if you were going for a helping hand here, you had to recognize that the Urshifu was focus sash, and I don't know if Hector really recognized that from the instant, because
even more than that, I think even Stellar Terra close combat
would it have knocked out if it was regular on the fire type on the Entei?
I really don't know if it would have. It very possibly could have just not, and that would have really changed the battle, since Urshifu, like if it didn't Terra and was still extreme speed, I think 2 extreme speeds also probably do it, if not a normal extreme speed and then helping hand extreme speed, or then Terraing on the second turn or something like that. Like just taking that first hit, knowing that Urshifu has a hit to give. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, and both players now locked in here. Game 3 for our top 8 matchup between Gio and Hector. Gio looking to go back-to-back for the Gym Challenge champion in this week. Hector looking to spoil the party and make sure that he has his precious son into the semifinal.
Yep.
Hector, his last hope will be Entei Tornadus instead of that Ninetales. And it's going to be Ogerpon for Regrep for Gio. So we have a couple lead switch-ups for both players.
Yeah, oh man, this is interesting. Tornadus is not going to provide a whole lot, I think. I don't think there's any big downside with a Trick Room here. If you're Gio with a Furgiraffe, you could feel like, yeah, you don't even have to Terra Fire right now because you have to follow me alongside it. Although you're really worried about what you do. Ooh, that's a missed Sacred Fire.
Yeah, that's 95 accuracy.
And a missed Air Slash.
95 accuracy coming up by Hector behind. Ooh. That's double 5% chances to miss this attacks. And that is unfortunately no damage done. That's a trigger going up. And you have to think for a moment that you would run Air Slash over Wakeland Storm because of the accuracy, and you still ended up missing.
Yeah, I think those 2 moves together might have taken down. I guess we'll see this turn.
Sunny Day comes out.
Sunny Day this time.
I mean, this Entei's locked in the Sacred Fire, so this is going to boost this damage up a lot.
It will.
But that's half damage to Entei with a Hyper Voice.
Yeah.
Sacred Fire into this Ogerpon. Is this going to be enough for a one-hit knockout? It is.
Oh, that makes it feel bad after the last turn. It definitely would have been a knockout with the Sacred Fire plus the Air Slash if both had connected. You're not totally out of it if you're Hector, but you have to feel like you're in a much worse situation, especially because Entei is now locked into Sacred Fire. It's a decent opportunity for Furgiraffe to Terra Fire. And
I'm more so paying attention to what the Tornadus can do here, because Air Slash I don't think is doing much damage to either of these Pokemon.
Yeah, Tornadus is doing basically nothing. It can get a Tailwind up, but that's actively bad.
Yeah, I don't think
actively bad under Tailwind.
You can't really go for the Tailwind here because of the Trick Room being up. Yeah, you just gotta get chip damage on something, but it's like, who do you get the chip damage on? Oh, Protect on the Tornadus.
Protect, I think, isn't
is
a bad
Entei
idea.
safe? Is Entei safe? Knockoff into this Entei. It's not safe. And down it goes to one singular knockoff.
Yeah, Entei was definitely not safe in this spot. And
I guess preserving the Tornadus isn't the worst thing to have in here.
It's not. Tornadus is still still hanging around, but is also still in a really difficult spot. It'll still, a Hyper Voice could still hit it. Now Gio still has the Terra to use.
Ooh, Amoonguss comes in here, and this is one of 2 things. This is one, you definitely have a free Spore on the Regrep right now, but also you have to worry about Flare Blitz.
You do have to worry about Flare Blitz.
And the Goldango.
Yeah, that's a thing. There's a Terra Grass Incineroar that can Terra. There's a Golden Go that can, with the Good as Gold ability, and that is what's going to come out.
Yeah, 4 different regrabs, so that option's safe. So, and Cineroar really not left. No, Amoonguss not really left with a lot of options. If it is Terra Grass, it's gonna be locked for Geo, and it is.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Hector's Terra going in first. I think that's Terra Water on the Amoonguss, and it is.
Yeah, it is, which is nice, but not extremely important. I think the Golden Go.
It was definitely worried about Flare Blitz. I'll give him that much.
It was, yeah.
And there is the Terra. There is the Terra on the Incineroar. It's grass.
Yeah, I like the decision there. It means that you are now immune to Spore with both of your Pokemon. I think the Golden Go locking itself into Shadow Ball at this point is pretty okay.
And there's the Spore, and it tries to go after the Regress stop, but unfortunately, Gold Gold won't affect Goldango. Knockoff into this Tornadus, not enough for the knockoff, but it will knock out the Cobra Cloak. Importantly, for later on in the turn, and another Air Slash miss!
Oh, that's brutal. Reading or at least guessing at the Terra Grass, that would have been super effective, and just not getting that. These misses for Hector are rough here in Game 3. And at this point, I think if you are Golden Go, you can just lock into Shadow Ball and just keep launching out those Shadow Balls. I don't think there's anything that wants to take a Shadow Ball at this point, and that'll be doing a lot of damage, even to that Amoonguss.
I guess the fortunate thing for this Amoonguss is that it's no longer worried about super effective attacks from Geo's side, because you had Flare Blitz into this Amoonguss, which unfortunately won't do anything here. Tornadus will stall out the trigger in here, because I think there was one turn left on it, and Pollen Puff will go into the Incineroar doing a decent amount of damage, but there is an Assault Vest there, so it won't be doing that much. Knockoff into the protected Tornadus, tries to knock it out before it gets a chance to set a Tailwind. But this Goldango, free to go for the Shadow Ball into the Amoonguss. We know it's a Rocky Helmet from earlier. It does so much damage. Trick Room ends. We have one turn left of Sun, but what can Hector really do?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we'll see what the Air Slash might do to Incineroar, but I think if the Air Slash doesn't knock out Incineroar, both of these Pokemon are going down, or if it doesn't flinch the Incineroar, which is a serious possibility.
Or the Shadow Ball doesn't go into the Tornadus. Because that's another possibility for this Goldango.
Well, I guess I'm saying that the...
Oh, Amoonguss protects.
Okay.
So it'll survive another turn and hopefully set up something for Hector in the back if he doesn't expect this Air Slash to... Well, it finally connects, and that's a lot of damage. That might have been a critical hit there, and it was.
It was a critical one.
So Incineroar is below health. Shadow Ball does target the Tornadus. Down it goes. So that means Incineroar, if it were to flinch, it sadly won't matter in this situation.
Yeah, it won't matter. That was a nice call by Geo, seeing the protect there.
Oh, and it did flinch.
And it did flinch, so very good decision there from Geo.
And now is down to Hector's Amoonguss, and Walking Wake is his last Pokemon to deal with for Regraph, Goldango, and Incineroar. Incineroar is very low HP, but this Amoonguss is threatened by the Shadow Ball right now.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, is Walking Wake cannot deal with both of these
you can Flamethrower, but you can't do everything at once. Because
yeah, that's the thing, is Walking Wake can't deal with both of these Pokemon at once.
Oh, see how much this Flamethrower does? It is not enough!
Yeah.
Even with the Life Orb, unfortunately, Shadow Ball goes into this Amoonguss. This will be able to knock it out. This Walking Wake is staring at 3 Pokemon before it. Possibly going to be able to lose his Life Orb as well.
Yeah, I think it's not totally out of the question at this point. Getting hit by Knockoff is obviously wow,
big critical hits. Down goes the Life Orb for the Walking Wake, but I think that just means the game is over because of the damage you took. I mean, yes, you knock out Goldango, but you don't have enough damage to deal with everything in the screen. Hydro Steam fails because he tries to target his own side, but he just admits the defeat button. And Giovanni Costa will advance to the semifinal round. I had to feel bad for Hector though with those misses early on.
Yeah, some of those misses certainly determined things, but Geo played that very well and certainly had a strategy to go through the rest of that battle. So Geo will move on and try to keep that title.
Yes, he is. And congratulations to Hector, by the way, for getting the top 8 with a team like this. You know, you hardly ever see Walking Wake get into a position like this because, you know, it didn't do good in Portland. You know, you saw Raging Bolt do better than it. You saw Gouging Fire and Babby do a little bit better than it. And you gotta feel that this team just feels like there's something missing. The Sun team.
I kind of see what you mean, yeah.
And
I do wonder, because a lot of people have been trying to make Sun work, and I'm not sure how to put it all together.
And that's going to be doing it here for our top 8 base. We'll be right back after this short break to give you our semifinal matchup, which you probably don't want to miss out because it's always going to be exciting here in SoCal. We'll be right back.